So students, now we are going to discuss standard enthalpy of formation, delta H0 of F. F stands for formation. It can be defined as the standard enthalpy of formation, means it is the enthalpy change that accompanies a reaction in which 1 mole of pure compound in its standard state is formed from its elements in the standard state. Means it is the enthalpy change when 1 mole of substance is formed from its components which is also in their standard state. Then some enthalpy change is associated and that is called as standard enthalpy of formation. Look at this. 1 mole of water is formed, H2O liquid. What is its components? Hydrogen gas, oxygen gas. H2 gases, oxygen gases. But it is formed by 1 mole. So balance it, hydrogen 2, hydrogen 2, oxygen 1, oxygen 2. So you have to take it 1 upon 2, means half means 1 oxygen. You are taking oxygen 2 multiplied by 2. How many mole water will be formed? 2 mole. But we want to formation of only 1 mole. When 1 mole of compound is formed from its components in their standard state, then some enthalpy change is associated and that is called as standard enthalpy of formation. Means when 1 mole of water is formed from component, hydrogen in standard state, oxygen in standard state, water is in also standard state, but how many mole? 1 mole. Delta FH is minus 286 kilojoule. This indicates that when 1 mole of water is formed from its constituents, hydrogen and oxygen, 286 kilojoule heat is released because delta RH is negative. Means it is the enthalpy change, that is minus 286 kilojoule. Heat is released when 1 mole of water is formed in standard state from its component, hydrogen in gaseous state, oxygen is also in gaseous state. That is associated with enthalpy change and that is called as standard enthalpy of formation. Clear? उसके बाद है standard enthalpy of combustion. Combustion means the material is completely burned or oxidized in the presence of oxygen. It can be defined as it is the standard enthalpy change accompanying a reaction in which 1 mole of substance in its standard state is completely oxidized. Means when 1 mole of substance in standard state is completely oxidized, it is associated with some enthalpy change and that enthalpy change is called as standard enthalpy of combustion. Look at this. Methane C2H4, that is ethene or ethylene, reacts with oxygen. Any hydrocarbon burns with oxygen, it forms CO2 and H2. CO2 gas is H2O liquid. Now balance it. Carbon is 2, carbon is 1, multiply by 2. Hydrogen 4, hydrogen 2 is here, so multiply by 2. Now oxygen 2 and this 4, this is 2 into 2, 4. 4 plus 2, 6, here 2, multiply by 3. Now the reaction is balanced. Look at this. Hydrogen 4, oxygen 2 and 2 to the 4. 4 plus 2, 6, 3 to the 6. Carbon 2, carbon 2. Now the reaction is balanced. Means when you are considering this reaction is balanced when 1 mole of substance, that is C2H6, is completely burned in the presence of oxygen and converted into a react products, but that is associated with some enthalpy change and that enthalpy called as standard enthalpy of combustion. इसका मतलब क्या है? जो सब्सटेंस रहता है वो स्टैंडर्ड स्टेट में रहता है, उसको अब हम बर्न करते हैं एक्सेस ऑफ ऑक्सीजन में तो उसका कन्वर्शन प्रोडक्ट्स में होगा, लेकिन उसमें जो एंथैल्पी चेंज होगा हम उसे कहेंगे स्टैंडर्ड एंथैल्पी ऑफ कंबशन। इसके पहले हमने देखा स्टैंडर्ड एंथैल्पी ऑफ फॉर्मेशन। इसका मतलब क्या है? जब 1 मोल सब्सटेंस स्टैंडर्ड स्टेट में तैयार होता है उसके लिए कुछ तो भी कंपोनेंट लगते हैं, वो कंपोनेंट भी उसके स्टैंडर्ड स्टेट में होने चाहिए और उसके कॉम्बिनेशन से जब 1 मोल सब्सटेंस बनता है तब कुछ तो भी एंथैल्पी चेंज होती है और उसी एंथैल्पी चेंज को हम कहते हैं स्टैंडर्ड एंथैल्पी ऑफ फॉर्मेशन। और स्टैंडर्ड एंथैल्पी ऑफ कंबशन यानी क्या है? जब 1 मोल सब्सटेंस कंप्लीटली ऑक्सीडाइज किया जाता है तो उसके साथ भी कोई तो भी एंथैल्पी चेंज होगा, और वो एंथैल्पी चेंज यानी क्या होगा, स्टैंडर्ड एंथैल्पी ऑफ कंबशन। इसके दो एग्जांपल, ये पहला और ये दूसरा। दैट्स ऑल अबाउट स्टैंडर्ड एंथैल्पी ऑफ फॉर्मेशन एंड स्टैंडर्ड एंथैल्पी ऑफ कंबशन।